Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everybody. Good evening here from New England, US. Maybe good afternoon to some of you, and some of you are headed into the afternoon. Glad to be here today. Another live session. I think things are getting better from a presentation perspective, but you let me know anything else that I could do to improve my go live sessions here is greatly appreciated. Always looking for feedback to present something useful to you. For right now, let's just jump right into what today is going to be about. So let's pull it up here and get them both going. There we go. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about what to do if you are injured, and if we have time to, in the end, we'll go over any Q&A questions you may have about running and walking. Usually these now have been taking a little bit more time to go through because I wanted to present more data to you that would be helpful. So in the end, whether you type a question or not, I will end up, or if you do put a question in there, I'm going to end up probably doing a video on it, or maybe I'll put it at the beginning of the next live session. So the format is I'll go through this and of course ask any questions that you have, and if I see them pop up, then I will obviously try to answer them as we're going through the presentation. Let's see here. So question of the day. Question of the day. Let me see if I can move this up like this. Aha. Question of the day. Do you drink coffee before you run? I'd be interested in this question and your answers here. I personally do not drink coffee before I run. I drink water. I do drink coffee through the day, but mainly 1 cup, but not before I run, unless I'm really, really sluggish and I need that extra kick. But other than that, I do not drink coffee before I run. But I'd be interested in what you do. Do you actually drink coffee before you run? Just let me know. I'd like to see what the consensus is out there. All right. All right, so what do we talk about and how do we get to this subject? So in the 2 previous videos, we talked about the 6 main causes to running injuries. So we looked at 6 different reasons why people typically get injured while they're running. And we went into them in a little bit more detail in the second section and figuring out how do we prevent these injuries from happening. So now that we know what those causes are, what do we do in order to prevent them from happening? And if you haven't seen those, I've got a link in the description in this video that you can go check out and rewatch those or watch them, and you'll be able to kind of catch up where we are. But in this video, we're going to actually be talking about, okay, you did everything you could, or maybe you're just learning about this, but now you are injured, and that's what this session is all about. What do we do if we are injured? So there are 2 scenarios. One, you get injured during a run, and this happens probably, for me actually, this is probably the least amount of occurrence that happens. Usually I feel pain before I run, but there are times when I'm out there running and an injury occurs. So what do we do in that situation? The other one is injured before you run. And this usually you feel like a little twinge, a little tweak, something that just doesn't feel right. And you go through the day, you kind of stretch, kind of try to get that worked out. And in the end, by the time you run, hopefully that pain has gone away. If not, then people tend to run through it and they say that they get injured while running. But typically I find if you are really thoughtful about it, and if I really looked at all the times I got injured, most of the time I feel the pain after I run or before I go to run, not actually during the run. So, but we're going to talk about both scenarios, and I'd be interested. Let me know, which experience do you have? Let me know in the comments. Do you typically find that you get injured during your run, or is there really a twinge before or after your run that actually sets it off, that you maybe experienced a full-blown injury while you're running because you tried to ignore it? All right, first thing we're going to talk about is, what do you do when you are injured before you run or during your run? And usually you feel a little glitchy, or what we want to find out while you're in the middle of a run is this like I call it a glitch, meaning that there's a little twinge, there's a little something that you feel while you run, and you're not sure if it's really an injury, something you should ignore or not. So what I want to talk about is really distinguishing, is this a glitch, like a little twinge, or is this a real injury that's about to occur? And understanding that is really important, because if you get it wrong, you'll get injured. If you don't do it right, you still could get injured. And if you get it wrong, or if you figure out that you just treated everything as a pure injury, you may be slowing down your progress in training. So how do we determine which one it is? Well, I personally have 4 goals in every single run. Every run I do, I kind of talked about understanding what your in the previous video, I talked about understanding what this specific practice run is for. And within that practice is 4 goals. I have 4 goals, and understanding those 4 goals will help me determine what I'm going to do, and whether this is a glitch or a little twinge, or is this really a real injury. So the first thing, my goal for every run, is to finish it as described. So this is my run, this is the distance, this is the speed, this is everything that I want my run to be. And the goal obviously is to get to the end of the practice run exactly how we wanted to run this practice. Now, if something happens, a little glitch happens, or something comes up, how do we determine what do we do next? Well, I think this one's obvious, but we slow down, and we don't want to compromise finishing the run. So what we want to do is just slow down, and we don't want to actually compromise our form either. And that's the major thing. I always say this: form before speed. So if we are supposed to run a 9-minute mile, or I'll just jump down since I know this conversion much easier. Say you want to run an 8-minute mile, and or 5-minute kilometers, then and that's our practice run. But in order to hold our form, we have to push through this little twinge in order to keep up that pace. My second go-to goal, if I can't complete the workout as described, I will slow it down to whatever pace I feel comfortable at, that I can hold my form. Because if I twitch or tweak my form, I actually, if based on our previous discussions on the other injury presentations I did, you can actually cause an injury because your form's out of whack. So just, you started with the twinge, but now you actually injure yourself because you're trying to push through and your form is broken. So we want to make sure that we do not break our form. So we will slow down to make sure that we keep our form intact. Now, if we are running and we can't keep our form intact, then I will go down to a walk. And that's what I have here. Oh, no, I didn't put that on here. So the next step is I go to a walk. If I can't even jog lightly and I still have that twinge, I will go down to a walk. And eventually, if I can't even walk without pain, then I will end up just stopping, calling somebody. I always have my phone on me, and I will call somebody to come pick me up. Luckily, I've never gotten to that situation, but at those times when I'm slowing down or walking, the goal is just to complete it by time. And I personally run by time, not by distance, which helps me a lot, especially in situations like this, where I'm just like, okay, I've run 10 minutes. I've got a 30-minute run today. I couldn't run as fast as I wanted, so I'm slowing it down. And maybe 3 minutes into it, I'm still hesitating or can't get through my run without compromising my form. Then I walk and I try to finish the 30 minutes. I don't care about how far I've gone. I care about how much time I spend exercising. So in the worst case scenario, I will end up stopping and going from there. Another question. I think I actually asked this already. Do you usually get injured while you run, or do you feel it before? I was preemptive on my first question. So if you haven't answered that question, go ahead and answer that question. All right. And I think that's where actually I come through this time versus distance, walk and finish the run. I'm going to do a video on the time versus distance. I think this is an important concept that a lot of people kind of ignore. And I think I think a lot of people ignore this, and it's really important is to make sure that it's so much better, in my opinion, and I'll explain why in a future video. But if you don't run by time, you should try it out. I think it's really helpful. Go back to running. Oh, yes. So let's say that you are walking or you slow it down. Your confidence builds up. And now this is how we can determine a glitch from a real injury, is that that little pain goes away and you feel a little bit more confident and you can pick up your speed back and you can eventually get back to where you want to be, which is that, going back to our example, 8-minute miles or 5-minute kilometers. So if you're slowing down and all of a sudden that little glitch goes away, then you should have the confidence to pick it back up. So that's how you can determine. Your body is going to tell you and send you signals. It's important that you read them and not push through them, because that's where injuries will occur, and we don't want that. Stop and rest if you have to. Like I said, if I can't even walk, then I'll get somebody to come pick me up. All right, what happens if you injured before you run? If you get injured before you run, look back at the 6 main causes, and we want to look at all of those different things and take action. Because one of the things that I find people do is they all of a sudden change something, or the pain goes away, but they don't actually figure out what it was, or to really know, okay, I just started foam rolling. So foam rolling is preventing this injury. Now I need to foam roll before I go out there and run, because my running is causing a lot of wear and tear on my body, and the foam rolling actually will help recover me. And I find this as I've gotten older in my age, is that I really need to focus more on my warm-up or my prep and my recovery phase. Whereas when I was younger, I could just go out there, run. But if I'm really honest with myself, we did a lot of push-ups and sit-ups and things like that in high school and college. It just became more relaxed because, or lax, because I'm trying to manage so many things in my life as I was compared to when I was younger and in school, and the time was dedicated to blocking off 1 to 2 hours just to running. So once you find what it is you want to combat against those 6 ways. So maybe your shoes, maybe you got the wrong shoes. Maybe you've never gone to a store and got it measured. Somebody looked at your gait and said, oh yeah, you overpronate and now you have the wrong shoes. So once you figure out what the 6 ways are or explore them, then you can combat them and really look for ways to make sure to set yourself up so you don't get the injury again. Because one thing, let's say that it is foam rolling that you need to do, and you don't go out there and do it. And today you feel better than you were yesterday, and you try to push through it, and then you get the injury again. Well, a little quick foam rolling sequence on, say, your shins to avoid shin splints may be all you need. And understanding that is important. Okay. And here's usually how I tell people, if somebody says I've got an injury, the first thing I do is I look at the prep and the recovery, especially based on the age. If they're an older, say getting into their 30s, 40s, and 50s, the first thing I say is, because I know I'm busy just like you with work, family, trying to do my workouts and everything. It gets pretty busy. So fitting in a proper prep period and a recovery period is not always easy. So being able to foam roll and put that in there is going to be something I will ask people to do. Stretch. Now, and I do it in this order. I do foam rolling and then stretching. I do the foam rolling to warm up my body and get the muscles nice and loose, and this is what I do beforehand, and I do it afterhand. After I'm done foam rolling, I will stretch because my muscles are warmed up, and I specifically target those areas that are causing me issues. Some people don't believe in stretching. It personally works for me. You need to figure out what works for you. Again, as I talk about in every single video, this is your journey. This is why you are a journey runner. We are on our own journey, but on a similar adventure. We're all runners, but we have different things that work best for us. So, but foam rolling, I am going to say everybody should do foam rolling. I wish I knew this way back when. Unfortunately, I didn't. Ice. Ice for pain only. So there's new research out there whether icing actually helps you heal or not. I particularly don't know. I don't ice unless I'm in extreme pain. And I mean extreme pain. And what I've found out based on some research out there, that ice is good as a natural pain reliever or pain number versus actually healing the item. So if you're in pain, ice should numb that area up for you. And if and this is just the new research. I'm not saying that this is true or not. You have to kind of do your own research. I'm going to do some more research myself, but they're saying that ice doesn't actually heal. Don't know if that's true, but what they do say that it is a natural numbing to a topical area. But I'm not going to get into too much details because maybe I'll do a future video on that. But icing should help if you have pain. And that's all I'm going to say. You can, again, discover for yourself whether icing actually heals you or not. And they're saying it's a placebo effect. What do I know? But I will tell people that if you're injured, foam roll, stretch, ice. And icing, I don't do prior to. I would suggest more on the recovery side, doing the icing. In the prep phase, I'm all about, me personally, I consider getting muscles warm, moving, and I'm ready for high contractions. I feel that ice kind of constrict things, but that's me. Let's see here. And go back to the 4 goals. So, and what as I talked about earlier, that, you start with your perfect ideal. This is my run. Then you go to the time frame of, okay, I can't do this pace without compromising my form. Now I'm going to run a little bit slower. And if I can't run that little bit slower, I'm going to go to a walk or eventually stop. But you need to assess before you go into your run, where are you on the scale? Do you need to rest? Are you not able to walk without pain? If you know you're going to walk with pain, why do it? Your body's giving you a signal saying, hey, light walking is okay. New research out there also says that holding or constricting movement of something is not really good. So what you want to do is you want to move that area instead of ice. So that's the new research out there. But can you walk? Can you jog a little bit? Can you run? So if you can do any of those, that's where you should start. And then just like during the run, can you go faster? Do you need to go slower? You need to figure that out before you go running, and then adjust as you go into your run. And rest, an IRP. So, and this is an IRP. I'm going to talk about this on the next session because an IRP is an individual, injury, an IRP, an injury running plan. So I don't know why I'm blinking on that. So an IRP is an injury running plan. You need to have one of these. So when you get injured, you'll know exactly what you're going to do. I have one of these when I plan out my new season. So this is something that you should have, in my opinion. If you don't have one, make sure you go to the next session because I'm going to be talking about that a lot. And I already have a video out there on an IRP already on the channel, but I'm going to explain that in the next live session. All right, at this point, I am going to leave it open to any questions that you may have on running and walking. Hello, thank you. Thank you, No Poco. But anybody, if you have a question about running, please let me know. If not, just leave a question. Leave the question right in the comments below. Again, if I don't get to it, I will either put it in a new video, like I said, or I will answer it right in the chat. But sometimes I like to share what everybody's doing or the questions that they have, because I feel that it's a good question that everybody should have knowledge about. And again, as I talked about, how do we, in the next session, next Tuesday at 12:15 Eastern Standard Time, 12:15 p.m., I'll be talking about, so you're injured, you're trying to get back into your season. How do we do that? So just to recap where we've been and where we're going. So the first session was the 6 main causes of injuries. Second session was how do we counter those 6 main reasons of injuries. Today we covered how do we help, what do we do when we are injured, and then finally, how do we move forward? How do we get through an injury? And I'll talk about my 2001 season, 2020 season, as I had an injury 3 months before, I got injured in July. In October was my race. And how did I get back from a full 2 to 3 months of injury back to where I could actually get a personal best or personal record in the half marathon by having a proper IRP. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. And let's see, any questions out there? It doesn't look like we have any questions. So I leave you with the rest of your day today. I hope you really find this video helpful. If you do, please subscribe and turn on the notifications. And again, like this video if it was helpful, to let me know that I'm giving you the content that is helpful for you and will help improve your running, so that I can continue giving you videos that will help you on your journey. So until next Tuesday, I will see you then.